Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tessabella, aka $1 Billion Bella, and today I am doing a little bit of a different video. Today I want to talk to you guys about a new mission I'm on, which is rebuilding my Instagram account. So let me give a little bit of history here, but then we're gonna dive into what I'm gonna do to grow it and kind of like give you guys an update. This is going to be a series, so going forward, I'll probably do an update every 2 weeks of the progress that we're seeing, what I'm doing to achieve those results, and hopefully there's something good to update on, because that's gonna not be fun if I don't have anything cool to share. So first things first, a little bit of a backstory is I have had an Instagram account since I don't know, when did Instagram come out? Like 2012 or something, 2011? I made an Instagram account. I was so obsessed. I mean, so obsessed with Instagram, and I would post all the time. It was all to like my middle school, high school friends. And then I went to college, and then I was working at a coffee shop, and then I was like into partying and raving, and then I was like really into my faith, and then I joined an MLM, and then I got into real estate, and then I started public speaking, and then I've done just about all kinds of other different things. So my point in saying that is that this darn Instagram account, it does have about 80,000 followers, but I don't think my followers could be any more confused. And I'm gonna be honest, so am I. And that's because I've gone through a lot of changes and a lot of shifts in the last couple of years, particularly the last like 2 or 3 years. And that has led me to have a very confused Instagram account. And I honestly feel like anytime I go to post, I feel this major resistance within myself. I feel like I don't want to post. I feel very hesitant to post. And I think that's largely because my engagement on there is awful, because it's like, what are we talking about? Like, who, what, we don't know what's going on. And I do believe I could probably revive that account. I will say I did a 75 hard influencer challenge earlier in the year where I posted every single day to Instagram and TikTok and all this kind of stuff. And it was a great experiment because I definitely got back into the habit of posting on social media. I got over the fear of posting a little bit, and I learned quite a bit. But I will say the results were not great. I increased my engagement a ton. And by engagement, I mean like impressions and that kind of thing. But my followers actually decreased, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because that just means people aren't like resonating with what you're talking about anymore, and that's okay. But again, it just became so evident to me that my audience is like, who are you and what are we talking about? So again, I do think that I could probably just trudge forward with this account and like force the algorithm to figure it out for me. But I think it'll be a lot more fun to start from scratch for a few reasons. Number one, I also want to document the journey and like truly show, because I do get comments from time to time when people are like asking about the sales results that I've had on my courses. They're like, oh, well, obviously you're getting sales because you have 80,000 followers. I'm like, well, little do you know, none of my sales have actually come from Instagram on this program that I launched, which I launched a couple of months ago. And so I've done a decent amount of sales, but none of those have come from my Instagram. In fact, all of my sales have come through email lists that I built in a totally different way. And so I do get that comment a lot, and I'm like, yeah, that's a valid thought process, but I kind of want to show people what it means and what it looks like to start from scratch with a brand new Instagram account in 2024, and how you can grow that and what you're going to be up against, like truly how hard or how easy that's going to be for you. And so I figured not only is this going to be good for myself and for my own audience and my own goals, but I also think it's going to be a great like live case study / live testimonial, which is one of the reasons that I really want to document the process here for YouTube. So today is May 7th. This is the first official day that I just created the new account. I'll drop the handle right here, but it is the real Tessabella, and this account is brand new. I literally just created it like an hour ago. I've posted now 2 reels to it just so I can start building up a little bit. I have 1 follower. I just started following a couple of people and engaging with some real estate content. So I guess let's dive right into the actual tangible pieces of what we plan to do and how it's going to work for us. And just note that this is based off of a lot of research that I've done. I have a history in social media management. I've managed over 500 accounts in my lifetime, some of which are for massive influencers and celebrities, and some of which for brand new like startup mom and pop shops. So I do have quite a bit of experience in the social media space. However, I shut down my social media agency about 2 years ago, which is a whole nother story for a whole nother time, and I do regret that, but that's okay. I shut that down, and so a lot of the experience and the thoughts and the strategies that I've been working on now are based off of research, and I have been doing a little bit of testing here and there. I consult for a few people still, but I don't manage nearly as many accounts. So I would say that all of this information and this strategy that I've devised is definitely based off of research, a little bit of guessing, and a little bit of testing. And so being that this is week 1, day 1, I definitely know that the strategy is going to shift a little bit as we get further and further in the process. So just bear with me. That's why I suggest following along with this whole series. So if you're not subscribed, get subscribed. And I'm going to document what's working and what's not, give kind of some updates on little tweaks. So a couple of things. Number 1 is I do think it's really important to define who your ideal people are, like your ideal audience, your ideal followers, your ideal clients. And if you don't necessarily have like ideal clients, followers, maybe you don't have an offer. Maybe you're just like, I want to build an account that is geared towards this kind of people. I want to do like influencer stuff. That's okay. What's really important is just that you're getting clear on who you want some of those people to be. So start writing out, and I encourage you to actually write this out, like physically, write out who it is that you're trying to have in your audience. And it's totally fine if that shifts and adjusts in the future a little bit, but try to get, I would say, like 3 archetypes of someone that you would like to have in your audience. So for me, for this specific account, the main focus here is I want other entrepreneurs. I want other people who are trying to grow on social media and like engage online. And I want people who are interested largely in real estate, either as a real estate agent, investor, maybe just for personal reasons, but anyone who's kind of got some interest in real estate. That is my background, and that's what I'm really trying to make sure that this account is focused around, is the real estate stuff, and really making sure that I can provide a bunch of value there. So first things first is getting clear on who that person is. Step number 2 is definitely figuring out, do they have some goals, some desires, some pains? And so the more granular that you can get with exactly who it is that you're kind of trying to have in your audience, the better. Because a lot of the content that we're gonna be creating is specifically speaking to like a desired result or a common frustration or a situation that they're currently in. So again, even if you're just trying to go the more traditional like influencer route, there's still going to be desires that other people have. Whatever it is, there are some desires and some pain points and some dream results that these people are looking for. So try to understand what those are and write them down as much as possible. Step number 3 is now it's time to collect a bunch of information about what kind of content is performing well. Now, a quick disclaimer here, I do want to make sure that you are cautious that you're not just knocking off other creators. That is never the plan, never the goal. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's not going to get you very far, okay? Now, that's not to say you can't draw inspiration from other people, but make sure you're putting your own spin on something. And if it is like really specifically, identically drawn from somebody else, give credit, okay? Just be a good creator. Don't be the person that kind of ruins it for other people. So what I like to do is I like to go do research both within my niche and outside of my niche. And the reason that I do it this way is within my niche, I can find ideas for trends or content that's worked well. I can see how many views certain videos have gotten. And so I can say, oh, this is a great concept. Let me try and create something. Or maybe simply watching it will just kind of get your gears turning and have some ideas of your own. The The reason I like to watch some outside of my industry is because that also gives me ideas of things that I could probably pull into my industry that is more unique and maybe somebody hasn't done. So this will probably apply to more like some of the trends or editing styles, things like that. But I like to, again, just make a big bank of things. And so what I'll do is I'll actually copy the link to the video if it applies. Sometimes you don't need it, but I usually will do that so that it's easy to grab the audio if I plan to use that audio, or just so I can refresh my memory whenever it comes time to actually create the content. Then I'm gonna put that into a note or a spreadsheet. I'm a spreadsheet gal, but a note is totally fine. And then underneath that, I write out what it is that my idea is. So again, whether I'm drawing inspo, whether it's to like recreate this, but for my niche, maybe it's just use this audio, but do this kind of video, whatever it is, I make sure and write it down then and there, because I used to not do that. And then I would go back and I would see all these videos and I was like, wow, these videos are cool, but what on earth did I think I was gonna do here? Like, I totally lose the train of thought. So I would encourage you to write it down right away. And again, make sure you link it so that you can give credit to a creator if that is necessary, or just so you can reference back to it, make your whole content creation process a little bit easier. Step number 4 is to determine what kind of post frequency. So for this first 30 days, I am going to do 3 reels a day. Now I know that sounds a little bit insane, and I truly believe that you don't have to do that in order to see results. But to be honest, I have the time to right now. I have the amount of ideas right now, and I really want to try to quickly train the algorithm for exactly the type of content that I'm putting out, who I want to get connected with. And I do believe that I will be able to increase the likelihood of that happening by posting more frequently, more quickly. So I'm going to try to space my 3 reels a day pretty evenly. So I'll do 1 in the morning, 1 about midday, and 1 a little later. Until I have a bit more history on this account, I don't really have any idea of what kind of times my audience will be engaged. So I'm just gonna start for now spacing it out that way. And then as soon as I start getting some insights on my account and I start getting some engagement, I may adjust those post times depending on which ones are performing better. But for now, we're just gonna test that out as far as getting content published. So there should be 3 reels a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the midday, and 1 in the evening. Again, if you're gonna follow along with this, you're welcome to adjust that. And I do truly believe you do not need to post 3 reels a day in order to see success with growth in 2024. But I do believe at this point in time, it should help speed up the process. So that is my commitment, at least for 30 days. And then we're gonna kind of reassess and say, okay, maybe we're gonna scale that back. Maybe we'll scale it up. We don't know yet. Next up is, well, I guess kind of along the same thread, is I'm also going to make sure that I'm using other Instagram features. So I've actually really retired myself from Instagram stories, but I am going to be posting Instagram stories probably about 1 or so a day. I might stagger those a little bit because I've seen lots of conflicting information on the Instagram stories. So again, I'm gonna not put too much pressure on the stories piece of it, but for now I'm gonna try and shoot for at least having like a story up all the time. A quick little bonus hint here, which I have seen and proven to work time and time again, is to delete your story before posting the new one for the day. So like right now, let's say it's 1 p.m. If I were to post a story right now, I'm gonna let that live on my Instagram account until tomorrow when I'm ready to post a story. Even if that's tomorrow at 8 a.m., I would go delete the one from today, give it a few minutes, and then post the story. I know it sounds silly, but for some reason, when you do this, I have such a higher increase in story views versus when I just post them back to back and I don't delete the previous days. I wish I knew why, but that just is the way it is, at least in my experience. So that's what we will be doing. And next is going to be some of our outbound engagement. So again, really what we're focused on here is how can we train the algorithm as quickly as possible to really know who we want to be shown to and who we're trying to get connected with. And so what I plan to do on this is engage with other people in my niche comment on lots of different posts and follow different people and hashtags and things like that. So one really great way that you can tell how well the algorithm is kind of like placing your style is to go to your actual explore page. And when you go to your explore page, so for example, right now, like I said, this is a brand new account. And so when I pull up the explore page, it's kind of super random. Like there is 2 real estate things, so that's great. But then there's like a restaurant, there's some memes, there's like some fashion. It's super, super random, as you can tell. And that's because Instagram is trying to tell what it is I view and engage with, because this is a brand new account. They don't have any data on me quite yet. And so I really wanna make sure that I train this especially well in the beginning. If you are trying to do some of these strategies on your existing account, that's totally fine. You do not have to have a new account in order to be successful with this. But this is a really great indicator of how well you have or have not trained your account. So if you're trying to apply this to an existing account, I would encourage you to give yourself like maybe say a 10-day span where you try to not engage with anything that's outside of your niche. Really focus on engaging with the hashtags, the accounts, the posts of like what it is that you actually want to be known for, because this will really, really help with teaching Instagram what it is that you want to be known for and who they can connect you with. Along that same thread, we are going to be doing some outbound engagement. So again, I do have the time for this right now, and I think that it will help with some visibility. And so what I plan to do is I've set a couple of timers in my phone to spend about 10 to 15 minutes twice a day engaging outbound on content. So that means that I'm going to go through the hashtags that I'm using on my actual posts, and I'm going to engage with other posts that are in that same hashtag, as well as find other creators, other accounts, try to connect with those, and really just make sure that I can do my part with engaging with other content, especially finding a few accounts that are a bit larger that I can leave comments on in hopes that, you know, maybe we capture some additional visibility and attention off of those. Now, I do have a couple of other pieces of this strategy, but I don't want to overload this first video, and frankly, I don't want to overload myself with this strategy. So I've got some pretty extensive notes. If you guys want to see any of that, just drop a comment down below, and I'd be happy to share my full blueprint, my full strategy of exactly what I plan to follow. But be sure to subscribe so that you can see the updates. Like I said, I think I'm going to do an update every 2 weeks. So about 2 weeks from now, you should have an update of how we are looking with our progress, what is working, what isn't working, and what we're going to adjust. And I thank you guys so much for tuning in and for joining me on this journey. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.